We'll call the meeting to order. This is the regular meeting of Council of the Municipality of Swan Valley West, held in Council Chambers at 216 Main Street, West Swan River, Manitoba. This 10th day of August 2021 at 7 p.m. Present, myself, Deputy Reeve Blosha, Councillors Foster, Gade, Wills, Kushniryk, and Pierrepont, as well as our CAO James Webb. Here doing podcast, Jeremy Bergen. First resolution, be it resolved that the agenda for the regular meeting of council held this 10th day of August 2021 shall be adopted as circulated. Do we have a mover, please? Moved by Councillor Wills, seconded by Councillor Kushniryk. Any additions, alterations?
Curious, our bylaw provides the in-camera pen of those last. I see item 4 here is in camera. I'm wondering if we should move that to the rest of the in-camera section of the end of the meeting.
Any thoughts on it?
That has to do with number 4, doesn't it?
Pardon?
That in-camera has to do with number 4, though, doesn't it?
Yes. Has to do with
more
code of
than
conduct.
doing camera meeting. So it seems strange to, we've got the media here, we've been here, people on the phone, so normally we do the in-camera at the end, so they get most of the meeting, and then there's the in-camera session, I'll just finish up anything. So I'm curious why we're putting it first, before we even do general business.
Any other questions or comments?
I propose moving it.
Do we have a seconder to that?
Does anyone know what it is? It seems like this is the stunning silence I often get from this council when everybody knows what's coming, but I don't.
It's quite descriptive there.
Not
It says
just
code of conduct.
just when we've dealt with code of conduct issues before, we deal with them in the meeting. So here we have it up front for no particular reason. Curious why? Nobody seems willing to answer that.
No one prepared to second that suggestion? If not, we'll call the question. All in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Next resolution, be it resolved that the minutes of the regular meeting of council of the Municipality of Swan Valley West held on July 27th, 2021 shall be adopted as circulated. A mover, please. Moved by Councillor Blosha, seconded by Councillor Foster. Are there any errors or omissions? Not all in favor? That is carried. Next resolution, be it resolved that Council of the Municipality of Swan Valley West receive the LUD committee minutes of July 2021. Mover, please. Moved by Councillor Foster, seconded by Councillor Kushniryk. Are there any errors or omissions there, to your knowledge? If not, all in favor? That is carried. Next resolution, be it resolved that pursuant to section 152, sub 3 of the Municipal Act, Council as a whole shall go into camera and close the meeting to continue discussions regarding the code of conduct. Mover, please. Moved by Councillor Blosha. Seconded by Councillor Kushniryk. All in favor?
Discussion actually.
Want to discuss it?
Yeah, I'd like to record it vote.
Okay. Councillor Blosha.
Yes.
Councillor Kushniryk.
Yes.
Councillor Pierrepont.
Yes.
Councillor Wills.
Yes.
Councillor Gade.
No.
Councillor Foster.
Yes.
And yes for myself. Declare the resolution carried, 6-1. Okay, next resolution, be it resolved that pursuant to section 152 sub 4 of the Municipal Act, this meeting shall be reopened to the public. A mover, please. Moved by Councillor Pierrepont. Seconded by Councillor Foster. All in favor? Is carried. Next resolution. Whereas the provincially approved investigator has completed a review of complaint number 3, and based on the facts provided, finds the identified behavior and actions of the respondent contravenes code of conduct for council members bylaw number 0083-20, sections 3.1, 7.6, 7.7, and council concurs with the decision. Therefore be it resolved that Council for the Municipality of Swan Valley West imposes suspension against Councillor Bill Gade for 90 days, and that Bill Gade's compensation be suspended for the same 90 days. These suspensions are set to commence immediately and will be served in succession with any other suspensions. Do we have a mover for the resolution? Moved by Councillor Pierrepont. Seconded by Councillor Blosha. Any comments or questions?
I'd like to record it vote.
Okay,
As well, I'd like to make some comments. We see council here again imposing a penalty larger than what was suggested by the investigator. We see a flawed investigation process where, again, I wasn't allowed to defend myself. In this particular investigation, I submitted numerous pages of information in defense. I offered to provide substantial additional information and evidence to the investigation. In the report, we see that this council chose not to allow me to do that because they wanted me to sign a confidentiality agreement that doesn't exist in law. This council loves to hide behind secrets. We seem to do that all the time. We do that routinely, and we do everything we can to keep the public from knowing what's happening. The public disagrees with that. I disagree with that. Council should be ashamed of its actions in that case of always trying to hide whatever can be hidden, keep the public from knowing, and operate in the background. We've seen that when committees are held with 6 people making decisions to make sure I don't know about them. We see that even here tonight with the great discussion of moving the in-camera around just to see if we can punish Councillor Gade a little more. Council's actions become vindictive. Historically, we deal with code of conduct at the end of the meeting. But someone made the decision here tonight to deal with it early, so I can be removed from the meeting, so I can't preside or be part of the rest of it. No one will own up to that decision here. When I asked council why we did that, nobody will say why. That's the sign of the council, is again hiding whatever its true motives are. Councillor Blosha was so nice as to ask me to resign a few minutes ago because of issues with the water in Gade. She's concerned, and I won't be able to address it when she brings a resolution to disqualify me from council, that I made the decision to report to the government a safety concern because this municipality failed its ratepayers in testing for bacteria. In Walkerton, Ontario, 7 people died in those same actions. In Walkerton, surprisingly enough, the first thing that the municipality did was issue a press release, much like this one did, saying, the water's safe, don't worry about it. And then people died. This council needs to take responsibility for its actions. It fails to do that. It operates as a special little club of 6 that have a great time. You're suspending me again. You couldn't even bother dealing with the last appeal. You missed the deadline to respond. You missed the deadline to do anything about it because you just can't get anything right. You lost $150,000 for Drop Me Crossing because you couldn't comply with the deadline. You lost $14 million for a water pipeline because you couldn't be bothered to get your jobs done.
That's your opinion.
Still on the floor. I don't know. I think this is wrong. I don't think I should be suspended. Obviously, I'll be in the minority on that. But this council should really start following the rules and maybe start doing what's best for our ratepayers because we aren't doing that right now. It's really, really unfortunate. This complaint, by the way, is over the fact that the CAO, or person that is CAO now, tried to bribe me. And the fact that that happened, and this council sits idly by and doesn't address those concerns at all, and instead suspends me for saying that I was attempted to be bribed, makes me wonder what your true motives are. There should be resignations tonight, but it shouldn't be mine. It should be the 6 of you. Nobody wants you here anymore. They want an election. They want a council that's responsible to our community, not just Swan Valley West, but the whole valley, to make the place better. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments?
It's not worth it.
If not, we'll call for the vote. Recorded vote has been requested. Councillor Blosha,
Yes.
Councillor Kushniryk,
Yes.
Councillor Pierrepont,
Yes.
Councillor Foster, and yes for myself. Councillor Gade,
I abstain
and you
because I was
abstain.
part of the complaint.
Yes.
Okay. I declare the resolution carried 5-4, 2 abstentions. Next resolution, whereas the well-being, interests of, and proper conduct of council and the administration of municipal business requires council members adhere to section 83(1)D of the Municipal Act to keep in confidence matters discussed in a meeting of council closed to the public. And whereas the interests of the municipality are harmed when there is failure by a member of council to maintain such confidence, and whereas Councillor Gade has been advised on several occasions that he has breached his duties under section 83(1) of the Municipal Act and has been requested that he refrain from further disclosures, and on July 28, 2021, Councillor Gade again deliberately and knowingly breached his duties under section 83 sub 1 of the Municipal Act. Therefore be it resolved that council sanction Councillor Gade and declare that he has breached the requirements of confidentiality under sections 83(1)D of the Municipal Act by failing to keep in confidence information received in a meeting of council closed to the public under section 152 sub 3 of the Municipal Act, in which information is to remain confidential. And be it further resolved that council seek the resignation of Councillor Gade under section 104 sub 1 of the Municipal Act as being disqualified because of section 94(1)H. And be it further resolved that failure to receive the resignation, council instructs the Chief Administrative Officer to commence legal proceedings with its legal counsel for an application before the courts declaring Councillor Gade to be disqualified and his position on the Council of the Municipality of Swan Valley West to be declared vacant under Section 95, Sub 4 of the Municipal Act. Do we have a mover for the resolution? Moved by Councillor Blosha. Seconder? Seconded by Councillor Wills. Discussion.
Well, I think it's unfortunate, but time and time again, we're forced to deal with breaches. It's not the first breach. I don't believe it's gonna be the last. It's unfortunate, but it continues to happen. Therefore, we're left no other action.
I agree.
Any other comments or questions? It is unfortunate that Councillor Gade chose to leave the meeting prior to this resolution being brought to the table and him being unable to defend himself. However, that was his choice. Are there further questions or comments? If not, you ready for the question? All in favor? That is carried. Okay, we'll move on to 7.1, Bylaw Enforcement Officer's Report for July. Resolution. Be it resolved that the Bylaw Enforcement Officer's Report for July 2021 be received by Council of the Municipality of Swan Valley West. Mover, please. Moved by Councillor Wills, seconded by Councillor Foster. Questions or comments? If not, all in favor? That is carried. Next resolution, be it resolved that the following animal control report be received by Council for the Municipality of Swan Valley West, that being the Rural Animal Control Officer's Report for July 2021. Be it further resolved that payment for the above services be approved as submitted. A mover, please.
I'll move that.
Moved by Councillor Blosha. Seconded by Councillor Kushniryk. Any questions on that report?
He hasn't been back over the same site again, has he?
On July 9th.
That was last.
Okay. Any other questions? Not all in favor? That is carried. Next resolution. Be it resolved that the animal control reports attached be received by Council of the Municipality of Swan Valley West. That is the Urban Animal Control Officer's Report for the month of July 2021. Be it further resolved that payment for the above services be approved as submitted. A mover, please. Moved by Councillor Wills, seconded by Councillor Foster. Any questions or comments on that report? If not, all in favor? And it's carried.
Dawn in
Next resolution. Be it resolved that the Swan River Fire Department response report for the month of July 2021 shall be received by Council of the Municipality of Swan Valley West. A mover, please. Moved by Councillor Foster, seconded by Councillor Kushniryk. Any questions on that? Not all in favor? That is carried.
Seven point five has no report, so we'll go to 7.6.
Next resolution, whereas section 372 of the Municipal Act provides the municipality with the ability to set a reserve bid for any property being sold at tax sale auction. Be it resolved that Council for the Municipality of Swan Valley West shall hereby set a reserve bid equal to the amount of all tax arrears, including all accumulated interest and costs owing for the property being sold at the tax sale auction to be held on October 19th, 2021 at 10 a.m. in Council Chambers, 216 Main Street West, Swan River, Manitoba. And be it further resolved that we do hereby appoint the Reeve to bid on behalf of the municipality. A mover for that resolution? Moved by Councillor Kushniryk,
Seconded.
seconded by Councillor Blosha.
And that includes all our costs, all total costs in there on the reserve?
That's right, yes. Yeah, for any,
Any other questions? If not, all in favor? It's carried. Next resolution, whereas the costs of operating and maintaining the Durban Transfer Station, borne at large, benefit relatively few residents, and few efficiencies are available, making it difficult to justify continuing the service. And whereas landfill sites are available to these residents at either Benito or Swan River, therefore be it resolved that Council of the Municipality of Swan Valley West initiate closure of the Durban Transfer Station effective October 1st, 2021. Do we have a mover for that resolution? Moved by Councillor Wills, seconded. Councillor Foster. Questions or comments? Not all in favor? It's carried.
so that last one, it was a notice of motion from last time to rescind some of the resolutions
No
from
one to bring it forward.
no one to bring it forward, so it'll just
On
sign and
the
table.
order paper.
Okay.
Perhaps it should be read and asked for someone to move it and second it.
Yep, we could do that. I don't have a resolution, but it's the notice of motion to rescind.
Okay, there was a notice of motion to rescind,
Rescind
items number 7, 8, 9, 10, 23, and 24 from the
July 13th.
July 13th meeting. Would we have anyone here prepared to move them? A mover, please? For the third time, do we have anyone prepared to move to rescind those resolutions? Not? Guys in the order. Okay, we'll move on to item 8, financial items, 8.1. First resolution. Be it resolved that Council of the Municipality of Swan Valley West hereby approve the following payments. General checks number 17120 to 17148 in the amount of $88,535.68. Do we have a mover, please? Moved by Councillor Blosha. Seconder, Councillor Foster. Any questions on the checklist? Actually, there was one I had about the graders.
17,145 or?
Yeah, I'm not sure what number it is, but there are wear strips, is that what they're called?
Yep. That's
What are those?
that's probably up around the circle. There's a bunch of wear strips in there that have to be replaced.
Okay, because
Occasionally.
there seem to be a number of them and more than once, according to the invoice that I saw.
Every couple thousand hours, we should probably look at those and see if they need to be replaced. Some of them,
Plastic.
some of them are metal too, but yeah, there is plastic in there.
Teflon or.
Teflon?
whatever.
I think that's on both this one, right?
Yeah.
This one? Okay.
Yeah. It's got both, yeah.
Yeah.
Depending on
And
which
unit
ones.
52, unit 51 is the 160 here.
Yeah,
52 would be the other cat in Durban?
Yes.
Yeah.
yeah, I think so.
Any other questions on that?
I just wanted to
What
have
is that, 2019?
clarification on one thing. Okay, that
No
was,
further questions,
This-
all in
this-
favor?
Darryl has
Oh,
this, this water test that's on here, that was the one that was sent out for the first of this month or the last of last month?
It was the last one of July.
The last one, July?
Yes.
Yeah. The one we were late on.
Yeah.
Any further questions? If not, all in favor? Carried. Next resolution, be it resolved that Council of the Municipality of Swan Valley West hereby approve the following payments. Payroll payments number 3742 to 3758 in the amount of $41,451.26. Mover, please. Moved by Councillor Wills. Seconded by Councillor Kushniryk. Any questions on that list? If not, all in favor? It's carried. Next resolution, be it resolved that Council of the Municipality of Swan Valley West hereby approve the following payments. Indemnities for July in the amount of $8,964.50. Moved by Councillor Kushniryk. Seconded by Councillor Foster. Any questions on those?
Right on here.
Yeah, okay, sure.
Any further? If not, all in favor? It's carried. Next resolution. Resolved that the Council for the Municipality of Swan Valley West does hereby receive the bank reconciliation and financial statement for the period ending May 2021 as presented. A mover, please. Moved by Councillor Pierrepont. Seconded by Councillor Blosha. You had an opportunity to go through it.
Yeah.
About it yesterday or whatever. Any questions? No comments?
Good job.
Thanks. June and July are right on the doorstep, so it's good.
Oh, that's good.
It shows that with the proper help that we can move forward.
Without interruption.
Yes. And I would say council appreciates that.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Any other questions or comments? No? All in favor? That is carried. Budget 2022.
Budget 2022, yeah. It seems rather early, but I don't think we need the 2021 results to start talking about 2022. And for the council, we can get a few of our clarifications out on the table so we can start working those into the system. And it also gives the public an idea that we are starting to focus on it, and anything that we need to do next year, we can start looking at those opportunities. So I have just a blank canvas. I mean, I just want to hear, basically, we never do stop and talk about how the budgeting process went or what we would like to see different, whether it is in quantity of information, whether it's the timeliness of the information, input that you need to put in. So talk to me. I can listen and write.
Okay, there are a couple of things that should happen in conjunction with that so that we do actually have some more solid numbers on some expenditures, and that pertains to gravel crushing and hauling. So I don't know traditionally when those ads have been put in the paper, but I would suggest that any time now would probably be an appropriate time to do that. We should probably review the contract for those two things as well, mostly for the crushing, simply to ensure that we have everything in that agreement that we would like to see in the agreement. In terms of timelines to be done, et cetera, et cetera.
New contracts and
Crushing.
issue tenders.
Yeah.
And I think we also need to be looking at the spraying, the ditch scrubbing, and having 2 seasonal employees.
Spraying this up too.
But we have to, there's,
Yeah, it's just, yeah, it starts going faster than we can.
well, and I mean, I said the other day at transportation, there's so much overgrowth that we're getting so far behind on our scrubbing that we need that scrubber going as
Yeah.
late as we can this year. And then we have to be set up, prepared to start spraying
Yeah,
in the spring to get it taken care of.
yeah. No, exactly.
And we need, I believe, 2 people. I'll have to get a resident request from you. I have another request of a person who just purchased a yard site and cannot get his semi in there. He's a truck driver. He needs an extension. I told him, he phoned me while I was away. I want to get a resident request. He's gonna sign it and we'll bring it to the office. And go from there.
I think those 3 things are good. Since the transportation meeting, I've made a few phone calls and talked to the different spraying people that do it.
Mhm.
So hopefully we'll have something in place with that. We did get some quotes back on scrubbing, so we have our own scrubber, but as you say, there's so much to do that we might do some custom work as well, just to get caught up. So that's in the works, and we can talk about that a little bit later. 2 seasonal employees is very important. We have to just make sure that we get on that nice and early, and with the scrubbing, we can extend that season quite a bit past our regular October. That's good.
Are we gonna have to look at buying another grader next year?
I think what the previous council had agreed to do because of the slipshod method that they used to replace them previous, there was one that was replaced very shortly after another one. In an effort to get the spacing more or less equal, it was the decision of that council, and I guess this new council went along with it, that until all 4 graders would be replaced, we'd be doing it on an 18-month interval.
18 month.
So that puts us somewhere next fall.
Yep.
And once that is done, then I think from a budgetary point of view and a cost point of view, it might be prudent to go back to an annual or a strictly biannual, or every 2 years that they be replaced.
Yeah.
Because they will all be then sequenced every 18 months or thereabouts, and would be a perfect time then to go back to the 2-year.
I'd like to know what the,
Or by the hour.
what the difference would be to go an annual. Just reason I say that is because then they're still on warranty and they have less hours. I'd just like to see, when we get to that point, how the numbers work out. You know?
It all bases on a price per hour, and that's what
Mhm.
is the best thing to,
Yeah.
like on our hours on the machines.
I just get nervous keeping them for 10,000 hours.
Yeah, well, it wouldn't have 10 on them, like,
No, it might, in 8 years it would. Yeah,
very few used to have 10,000 hours.
No.
And we only actually had
1,500 hours a year though, guys. You know?
if they're being used that
Yeah,
much.
well, I drive one, I know what the average
You
is,
may be putting on that.
you know?
Yeah, average wise, yeah.
But that's a totally
We
different
can
discussion.
adjudicate it when the time comes, exactly.
Because, yeah, we're gonna have to reevaluate factors.
Yeah, that's another thing too,
Yeah.
'cause they're getting up there as well.
And are we looking at another mower for next year? We did the 15-foot this year. In the North Country, I don't know if 15 would be suitable. or-
Yeah.
I don't think it would be,
No.
not in the north. Sorry,
And
Dan.
I think we,
Well,
It's okay, I'm
15.
very happy with that 15.
any place that could handle a 15, it isn't gonna be used every day in the south either, right?
No, but
So-
3/4 of the time, it's, yeah,
But-
yeah.
They
so
can do-
that
yeah,
leaves
well,
a quarter of
say-
the time open.
In my area, the ditches are too steep,
Mhm.
and some of them are way too narrow to be running 15, so.
Yeah.
They would be unhooked over, I bet you 50%. Would be
The
even-
operator could just make a
He could
list
just
of them.
pull out, he could just pull out.
I know, but
Yeah,
if he's gonna pull out and run 10 feet all the time, might as well buy 10-foot mower.
yeah, but I mean, yeah, but I mean.
I don't
on
want
some
that
of the
mower
things-
in the bottom of the ditch where there's great big boulders,
Yeah,
or we won't have a 15-foot, we'll have a 10-foot.
Have to take that wing off.
That's
Yeah,
my
I-
concern. And
yeah.
trees.
yeah. I'm just, yeah, no, it's working out fine there.
Well,
It's
that's,
good, you know,
So we expect to see the south half of the municipality sparkle, right?
well, I hope so.
Well-cut ditches.
I'm looking south when I come outside tonight.
Okay, might be some rain.
Tractor and mowers, we got, mower, we got that down there, so that's good.
We'll likely, I guess there's 2 10-foots out there right now, isn't there?
yeah.
Well, maybe a little more next year. isn't
It depends, I mean, it just depends on maintenance. If we don't, if there's no maintenance on them this year, then I would push another year.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'll put a question mark there with the
I
tractor.
mean, a lot of the maintenance we were getting was due somewhat to driver,
Breakage.
driver maintenance, so.
Okay, we'll move on to number 12 then, committee reports. Councillor Will.
I attended 2 different HR meetings and a transportation meeting. And I think that's it for me.
Okay, thank you. Councillor
I couldn't
Foster.
make it to the transportation, but no, I haven't.
Had nothing? Okay, thank you. Councillor Kushniryk.
No meetings, just, addressing some resident, concerns, I guess.
Councillor Blosha.
Had transportation to HR and passed some information on to our CAO about maybe some help for Benito water plant, and I think that might be something that'll come up soon, so that,
You attended the interviews as well.
yeah, and an interview.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Pierrepont.
I also attended 2 HR committee meetings, a transportation meeting, an interview meeting, and the same way dealt with some resident requests and concerns.
Okay, thank you. I too did interviews to HR. Pardon? Okay.
Shorthand.
Short, it's getting shorter.
I couldn't type them in shorthand. Interviews and repairs.
Yeah, Stevenson's.
Okay.
Stevenson's.
Galloway.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
too had 2
Stamp.
HR meetings, interviews, and transportation.
Last name?
Athanasiu.
Yes, that's how you pronounce it.
Okay.
Come up on my phone.
He messaged me first, and I just said, you know what, I said, talk to Darryl, because it is your ward, so. But I said, definitely we can,
He'd hired Jay Barkman to go do it, and then Jay told me.
And yourself.
Yeah, reimbursed, because there may be help, so. I said, if we're gonna do it right, we'll get more requisition, we'll get it to the office. So he just needs to extend it. He doesn't-
Okay, I had 2 HR meetings, transportation and interview.
Next resolution, resolved that we do hereby accept the following verbal reports regarding council committees and communications. Councillor Kushniryk, resident concerns. Councillor Blosha, transportation, 2 HR meetings and an interview. Councillor Wills, 2 HR meetings and transportation meeting. Councillor Pierrepont, 2 HR meetings, transportation, interview, and resident requests. Councillor Foster, resident concerns. Myself, 2 HR meetings, interviews, and transportation. CAO James Webb, 2 HR, transportation, and interview. Mover, please.
I'll move. I'd also like to add interview to mine as well.
Okay. Moved by Councillor Wills, seconded by Councillor Foster. I've added it for you.
What's that?
I've added
Okay, yes.
Councillor Wills and interviews. Okay, all in favor? And it is carried. Thank you all. Okay, we have come to the point where next on the agenda is our second in-camera session. However, we have been opening up the floor to anyone who wishes to ask a question or make a comment with regard to topics that were covered in tonight's meeting so far. Does anyone have a question or a comment?
Yes, Reeve, Galloway. 3 very quick ones. Please congratulate the grader operator that went by my place this afternoon. He was very courteous, did a very good job. Congratulations everybody keeping your heads together on a difficult meeting. One question, somebody asked me about bacterial count in Benito, and I think Bill Gade was squawking on it, but I couldn't understand what he said.
The bacteria count, is that what you asked about?
The water test, he's saying the bacteria is deadly.
Is that what your question referred to, the bacteria in water?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, there were, the final results came back, and was there any bacteria present?
They met standard.
Met minimum standards,
Met and exceeded,
met and exceeded standards.
yeah,
Thank you very much.
yeah.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments?
Jeremy does.
If I
Jeremy.
remember correctly, the resolution to suspend Councillor Gade did use the word immediately. So did that imply that immediately meant he was to leave the meeting immediately, or did that apply once the meeting was concluded?
Immediately, I think if you look it up in the dictionary, means right now. As far as his actions after that resolution passed was on him. I said nothing about him leaving the room.
So once that resolution was passed, he was free to stay in the meeting until the end of the meeting?
Even as suspended, he can.
But he couldn't participate in it.
That's correct.
I was just confused by your comment of Gade making a choice to leave the meeting,
It was his choice. I didn't ask him to leave. No one asked him to leave.
but he couldn't have defended his actions at the following resolution if he was no longer able to participate.
I said it was unfortunate that the resolutions were in the order that they were.
Okay, very well.
Any other questions?
Ron here.
Go ahead, Ron.
I couldn't hear Jeremy very clear, but as the meeting has been going on, I see Mr. Gade has posted, I believe, something incorrect once again, and I hope council, if you haven't already decided to do so, do a proper explanation in the paper or somewhere to explain this, because his side is already getting his version that he was forced to leave the meeting, and I was listening, and nowhere did I hear anybody ask or force him to leave. He left on his own volition. I would hope that council makes it clear to the public before it gets on too far that he rallies his supporters and the wrong message once again travels through this valley. That's one point. And the other, if I could get some clarification, because I did submit a proposal to council for contracting and doing some brush cutting. Does that, if I can get some clarity, is the brush cutting going to take place up in our area that I've discussed with Councillor Darryl? Or are we going to consider the possible proposal that I've sent in?
We will be discussing prices, et cetera, in camera, coming up immediately following our comments and responses. And so
Okay,
after the in-camera session, hopefully there will be a decision that will either pass a resolution for or give instruction to Councillor Pierrepont to contact you.
Okay, no, that's great. We just discussed some areas of importance up there, so, no, great, thank you very much.
Okay?
And as a member of the public, I concur with Ron Medved. No one asked or forced Councillor Gade to leave. He did it himself.
Okay, thank you. I think the tape will verify that as well.
Well, I just wanted it out that as a public person, I listened to everything that went on, and what he did, he did.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? If not, thank you all for attending. And we will take a 10-minute recess and then resume in camera. Thank you again. Good evening. Next resolution, be it resolved that pursuant to section 152 sub 3 of the Municipal Act, council as a whole shall go into camera and close the meeting to continue discussions regarding personnel matters, negotiations / preliminary discussions. Mover, please. Moved by Councillor Kushniryk.
I'll second.
Let me get finished writing this.
Oh, I'm sorry, rushing you there.
Seconded by Councillor Wills. All in favor? That is carried. Next resolution, be it resolved that pursuant to section 152 sub 4 of the Municipal Act, this meeting shall be reopened to the public. Mover, please. Moved by Councillor Blosha, seconded by
I'll second.
Councillor Wills. All in favor?
Yes.
That is carried. No resolution. Next resolution, be it resolved that this meeting shall now adjourn at 9:55 p.m. Be it further resolved that the next meeting is Tuesday, August 24th, 2021 at 7 p.m. Mover, please. Moved by Councillor Foster, seconded by Councillor Kushniryk.
There, we're back to old times.
All in favor?
Carrie, you have the Tuesday?
That's carried.